Hello there, Year 8. Our final question in this first philosophy section is, do miracles happen? And I suppose we should really start it off with the question, what is a miracle? Now, some people believe that miracles are things that break the laws of nature. For example, a human being being able to fly just by batting his arms up and down. That's impossible, and it breaks the laws of nature because we haven't got the upthrust and things like that that birds have got. And other people will say, well, no, that's not exactly a miracle. That's, just not able to happen. The miracles are the impossible becoming possible. Now, I suppose if you think about your mobile phone in your pocket or on the side there, this is the kind of thing that in a few years ago when I was a child it would have seemed impossible for that kind of thing to happen. But it's become possible. And some people will actually say, well, that's a miracle, because therefore the impossible has become possible. And I want you to think about that, really. Now, the kind of miracles that we're looking at, religious miracles, are the idea of God getting involved, and that's what other people believe that miracles are, where God gets involved in the world and actually makes impossible things happen that can even break the laws of nature. For example, one of the miracles that we look at a lot in our GCSE course is a miracle in Lourdes. And Lourdes is a place in the south of France. It's a place where Roman Catholics go because they believe certain miracles happened there about 150 years ago to a small little peasant girl called St Bernadette, who saw visions of Mary, Jesus' mum. And she saw visions of Mary 18 times, and the vision of Mary told her to do certain different things, and one of them was to dig a hole where water came out. And people today still go there because they believe this water has healing properties that can cure them of diseases that otherwise they wouldn't be cured of. For example, there's this woman who we look at, and there's a picture of her here, called Sally McCloy. And Sally McCloy went to Lourdes in the 1950s from Birmingham. She was a lady from Birmingham, and she claimed that she was cured of cancer at Lourdes, even just as short a time ago as 50 years ago. And you'll get to know this lady, Sally McCloy, over the next few years when we look at her in the GCSE course. But for today, I just want you to think about, well, she had this cancer, and cancer seemingly went away when she went to this place called Lourdes. Now, as we know, cancer can't just go away because we go to a certain place, so was that a miracle? Was that breaking the laws of nature? Was that God getting involved? I want you to think about that. Another thing that people believe is miracles in today's world is faith healing. They believe that if they have enough faith that they would be healed by a person in a church or something like that, then they actually can. One of the people we look at GCSE is a man called Benny Hinn, and he claims that he can cure people just by their faith. If they believe that they can be cured by the power of Jesus, because they're Christians, then he actually believes that they can be. Now, many religious people across the world believe that these kind of miracles happen all the time, that God gets involved in the everyday activity of human beings, and if they've got something wrong with them, then God can actually cure them or pose different ideas about the situation that they're in, not necessarily curing them, but maybe giving them things to think about and things to actually do. So what I want you to think about there is, are these things miracles? Can people perform miracles today? Now, the alternative, I suppose, if we're going to think critically about this, is no, that miracles cannot happen. You can't break the laws of nature. The laws of nature are there and they're set in stone. And any kind of miracle is a bit like the religious experience idea. It's wishful thinking. It's people who believe they go to Lourdes because they want to be cured, and they go to Lourdes anyway to be cured. And it's the idea is that we think wishfully about things. And the other one is the idea that someone like Sally McCloy went to Lourdes. She actually went to Lourdes to be cured, and we don't understand quite what happened to her. There must be some link between her mind and her body that enabled her to get cured, but we don't truly understand what it is yet. And so what some people believe that we do is that when we have a gap in our knowledge, that we don't understand something that's going on, we put God in that gap. And God is just an idea that we don't understand yet. And when we come to understand it, then we don't put God in the gap anymore. It's a bit like earthquakes. People used to believe they didn't understand what earthquakes were, so they believed that it was God who was making earthquakes. Whereas now we understand that it's the tectonic plates moving in the earth. So our miracle is just gaps in our knowledge. It's things we don't understand yet. Was Sally McCloy's miracle just a gap in our knowledge? Or finally, should we believe, like Einstein does, that in fact everything is a miracle? The fact that you're here listening to this video is actually a miracle in itself, because the chances of it happening are quite amazing. So miracles aren't these amazing events that happen and make you go, blimey, that can't happen in the real world, so therefore it must be a miracle. God must have got involved. No, everything is a miracle. The birth of a child is a miracle, or the fact that the earth spins around the sun, that's a miracle. And ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, then the question is this: do miracles happen? Are miracles these amazing events where God gets involved in the world and cures people who are going to die? Or no, is it just wishful thinking? Or in fact, should we see everything as a miracle, as Einstein said? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think?